I don't understand what that means.
No, me neither. I'm just not going to say anything.
Well,
yeah, just tell me you have to talk or not.
Most people think the opposite.
We're live right now. It says it's offline, but it's not true.
Talk or not.
Okay, there we go.
No.
All right, I'm gonna post the link.
No, people think the opposite because he's so mature and he was the reason Clemson is what it is now, and people think if there's any quarterback that goes through front office turnover, it's him because he's so mature and he's he's the leader of that team now.
All right.
I'm going to say to yourself, his style might not transfer over to the NFL that well. But, yeah.
I'm going to start this here podcast.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Draft Indie Podcast. I'm your host, Grant Sinning. Tonight, we have Alex, Jay, Jeremy, and Brian joining us live post round one. All right, guys. Pick 15 came, and we didn't trade down, just like Alex and I told you to, or told you would happen. And then, not only did we not trade down, we probably got a top 3 player in the draft, and Malik Hooker. First thing I'm going to do is pass it to our OSU boy, Alex Jacobson. Alex Jacobson, tell me about Malik Hooker, and why does he make this defense that much better?
Yeah, so just for starters, people realize this is a steal, but I'm not sure they realize just how great of a pick it is. It's there's legitimately 2 people in this draft that I'd rather have for the Colts, and that would be Myles Garrett and Marshawn Lattimore, and Malik Hooker is the third because though safety is not the most immediate need, what he does for this defense it's incomparable to anybody else they could have gotten. He is a center fielder that is made a straight prototype. It's made in a lab. He's one of the best athletes in the draft. He couldn't test, but he is crazy athletic. He has the best ball skills I've ever seen from a defensive back prospect. He had 7 interceptions last year at Ohio State, 3 pick sixes, crazy with the ball in his hand. And though he's not a really good tackler and good player against the run yet, he has the willingness to hit people, and he had a quote once that he would much rather hit somebody than get an interception. So I was ecstatic with the pick. He's going to start from free, assuming he's healthy. He's going to start at free safety from day one, and the Colts love cover one. Chuck Pagano loves cover one, and Hooker is the perfect guy to play that deep role.
All right, I'm going to go straight to Jeremy. Jeremy, where did you have Malik Hooker on your big board?
He was number 5 overall.
All right. So, in your opinion, I know Alex just gave us what he thinks Malik Hooker brings. What do you think he brings to the defense?
A potential Earl Thomas, which is, that's what you dream of having at the back of your secondary. He brings someone who can make a play that alters a game rather than just what they've had thus far, which is just guys who can kind of cover or who can kind of stop the run, but not necessarily alter a game in any way. He can take the ball away. He can, pry it loose, and he can score. Like Alex said, 3 TDs last year. He's crazy with the ball. His straight line speed is insane.
All right. So, Jay, you wanted a Malik. You got a different Malik. How do you feel about it?
I feel great about it. This is not a consolation prize Malik. This is an equally as good Malik and no off-field issues that I have to try to explain away.
Yes. Now, did anyone in this Skype call think Malik Hooker was going to be available past 10 even?
I actually did. I thought he was going to fall. I think some of the injury issues that he had and the fact that, NFL teams are devaluing some safeties who struggle against the run more and more recently. I feel it was a recent trend, so I thought there was a chance he would fall around the mid-teen range. To be honest, in my mock, I had him going to the Titans' second pick.
Mayock had him at 19, I think, or 18, somewhere up there. So thought it was a possibility, but I never actually thought he could. I thought he was going to fall, but not fall to 15.
Okay,
we were so fortunate for that run on offense in the top 10. Like John Ross going at 9, 3 quarterbacks in the top 12. Fournette, McCaffrey, it broke perfectly for us, and we got to the point where there were there were Jonathan Allen and Malik Hooker were 2 guys who were consensus top 10 talents who were both there for us, and which is of course why we should never have considered trading down in the first place, but that's another story.
All right, so I think everyone in the room is in agreement. We like Malik Hooker. We like the pick. What does it do? Okay, so we've talked about his impact on the defense. What does it do to the current players on the roster? Re-signed Darius Butler to a 1-year, $3 million deal. Drafted T.J. Green last year at pick 49, I think. Maybe a little later. I don't remember the exact pick. Second round. Where does this all shake out? Malik Hooker's obviously going to start. And he's going to start at free safety. Now, we all thought Clayton Gathers was going to be, the free safety moving forward. But honestly, Clayton might have a better skill set that translates for the strong safety role. But so now it looks like it's just up in the air. What's going to happen? What do you guys think is going to happen with the current players on the roster?
Well, Grant, I think you said it best. So when the Colts drafted Gathers, we expected in the box safety, and now, this is going into his year 3. It seemed that the Colts were molding him to be a cover 1 guy, and now it's moving back. And to be honest, I think Gathers shows some potential in cover 1, but I think overall I feel better with him closer to the line of scrimmage. I feel like he's using his best, and I think we can all agree now Butler's back to nickel.
For now, yes.
He's gonna come in because now this probably lessens the amount of capital they put in the corner. They'll still have to take one, but they might not take might not take multiple high enough where you feel comfortable starting all 3, or starting 2, meaning Butler is your nickel until if and when somebody gets hurt at free safety, and then he can step in there, or somebody under him develops a corner, because he's definitely better at safety than corner, but just based on getting the best players on the field, he's probably going to be nickel.
So pretty much, this covers 2 positions with 1 in terms of, I think it really kind of gets the best value. I was a little worried about what Butler would be, especially if Butler's playing close to line of scrimmage and taking on more run fits. I thought that would be interesting. But this puts Malik Hooker in his best spot. I think it puts Gathers in his best spot. And then we have to have a conversation about T.J. Green now. He kind of just seems like he's. We'll see how many. We saw some 3 safety looks last year where they got Green in, but you add another safety, you add Butler in there too. Obviously dime packages will be interesting, but we talked about it. It pretty much seems that Ballard doesn't show any. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but anyone that was on the roster before him, he doesn't owe them anything.
Right, he's got no attachment to any of Ryan Grigson's picks. And honestly, T.J. Green was Pagano's guy, and it's interesting that we end up just drafting a safety right away in the first round, not really giving him that shot, that chance, which was something that Brent and I discussed with Stephen Holder. How much influence is Pagano going to have on the draft? Now, he might have some say and some input, but to give up on his guy so fast, kind of telling on kind of the change that's been made in Indianapolis. So
I would agree with that, but I think to a certain extent, it's a lot of this is just how good Malik is and how they were so shocked that he was there, and you kind of throw out any strategy you have at that point just because the talent is so ridiculously such a ridiculous value.
That's very true. And in his presser, I just missed most of it, but someone asked the question, where did you have Malik on your board? And he just kind of smiled and said, very, very high. So I'm going to guess that he had them very high. They had no clue that this guy was going to be there for them. Okay, so
yeah, one quick thing on what it does for the team, too, is this would potentially allow, if TJ Green starts to develop a little bit, it could allow them to play him closer to the line of scrimmage, where he's probably better. I don't think that his best position, even if he was working on his development, would have been as a deep safety. And they've got Geathers, but they also have, if TJ Green could develop, he could become a more box-type safety, strong safety closer to the line. That'd be more in line with his skill set if they have Malik too.
All right. So let's talk about the rest of the NFL now real quick. Who made the best pick tonight? Excluding pick number 15, we're all going to be pretty high on our pick. Who made the best pick of the night? Anybody?
I'd go Chicago, getting the player they wanted, Solomon Thomas, and getting a third-round pick.
49ers.
Did I say Chicago? Yeah. Trading with Chicago. The 49ers trading with Chicago. Moving down one spot so they can take the player they wanted in the first place, and picking up a third and a fourth and then a third next year. And
then turning that, I think they turned that fourth right back into moving up to grab Reuben Foster at the end of the first round. 49ers, John Lynch, I'm going to give him credit. I was very skeptical. So far, so good, I guess. I mean, the players he's brought in free agency, he's brought in, I'm trying to think, he brought in some good wide receivers, in my opinion. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but he's done some very interesting things. The only thing I'd question on him is paying the fullback more than any other running back got in free agency, which is pretty interesting. But other than that, yeah, I'd have to agree. I think the 49ers did themselves the best. Does anyone have another pick?
Just going off the 49ers, well, I think 49ers pretty much did. I mean, you can argue, and obviously we all know everything with Reuben off the field, but you can argue they got two of the best 3 defenders in this class, at worst 2 of the best 5 defenders in this class, and it's in that front 7. So, I mean, you really got to like that. I liked Washington getting Jonathan Allen at 17. You talk about Trent Murphy and Ryan Kerrigan and Preston Smith rushing the passer from the outside, but Jonathan Allen on the inside with Stuart Cravens in that front 7. That's becoming a really, really good front 7.
All right.
I liked, let's see, the Saints getting Lattimore at 11. That was a great value pick, and they really needed a corner. Tampa with O.J. Howard is going to be incredibly fun. And then I think let's give a shout-out. Garrett's not here, but I think the Giants taking Evan Ingram is certainly worthy of a shout-out, even though it was maybe a bit of a stretch over Njoku, but still a really fun pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That's a fun pick. Put him, Brandon Marshall, Evan Ingram, OJB. So, yeah, that's pretty insane. What was the worst pick tonight, Jeremy? You've been quiet. What, in your opinion, what was the worst pick of the night?
Easily predictable for me because I knew Adoree Jackson and Jabril Peppers were going to go in the first round, but I hated both of them. They're my 64th and 71st ranked prospects. I think there's still up to 4 or 5 safeties available that are better than Peppers, so both of those picks are just awful for me.
I'm honestly gonna have to agree with you on the Adoree Jackson pick. I had him as a 3rd round grade. I know we've got a big fan of Adoree Jackson in this call, but I
liked Adoree, but 18, that's still too high for me. I was willing to take him, in the 20s, and I get that's only a couple pick difference, but I think spending a team pick on Adoree Jackson was very rich, and I know you guys were saying in the DM, I think T.Y. is going to have some success against him because T.Y. can do the things that Adoree struggles with.
Yeah, when you watch, they talked about it a lot on the NFL Network broadcast when John Ross went against Adoree Jackson. John Ross tore him up. Now, not saying that they're similar players, they do have that outside speed. It'll be interesting. I honestly, out of in our conference, I don't think anyone. I'm not afraid of Fournette, especially with Blake Bortles still being the quarterback. I'm not honestly too terrified of Deshaun Watson. I think he's a solid quarterback, but I think honestly, he's still. I don't think his ceiling will be as high as obviously Andrew or Marcus. So I mean, at best they traded a lot of capital to get the third best quarterback in the division, in my opinion. So honestly, are you guys agree there? I mean, I think we're making strides of getting back to. I mean, I'm not saying we're gonna win the division right away, but I think overall the Colts helped themselves the most out of anyone in the division.
Titans, I still think a case could be made because I mean Corey Davis is a very, very good player. I think I really think every team helped. I just think every team in the AFC South really did help themselves. I think you can argue maybe the Texans the most just because it is a quarterback, but I think every team really did help themselves with a need at one point.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Really quick shout out for my worst pick. Just shout out to Gerard Davis not being there for the Colts in the second round because the Lions decided it'd be a good idea to take him in the first.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I like Watson, and I think that's going to be a good pick. And I mean, I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. But regardless, like they improved their quarterback situation by quite a bit over the last couple years. But they spent like 3 different picks, including a first rounder next year. I think their second rounder this year. That's quite a lot.
And they're already down their second round next year for getting rid of Osweiler.
Yeah,
that's right.
They got a quarterback by trading away first and the second from next year. Interesting.
They spent 4 total picks on getting Deshaun Watson, so I guess that's not great.
All right, trying to keep this one relatively short. So let's talk about tomorrow. Who's your best? What's your? I mean, board. Now that the board's fallen, 32 players have been taken. What's your best case scenario for pick 46? Let's start with Alex.
Another Malik McDowell would be insane. More realistic, probably. If you want to go edge, Tim Williams, Derek Rivers, and then still, and then Dalvin. If you want to, I have all aboard Dalvin in round 2 if he's still there. Would be a great fit.
All right, Brian.
Oh, and corner Awuzie from Colorado would be a great pick there.
Yeah, I'm going to go a lot with what Alex said. Awuzie, even let him kind of work with Butler in this slot. I think that'd be good because Butler's only on a 1-year deal. Still really like Awuzie in the second round because I gave him a first-round grade. Malik McDowell, absolutely. And then, Dalvin Cook in round 2. I would be very, very tempted not to pull the trigger there. And let's see, Jordan Willis I would like in round 2. Tim Williams round 2. Carl Lawson, still not the biggest fan of his, but there's some pretty good talent all across the board. And I think corner, I could still see them taking corner just to really improve the secondary, but they're definitely not locked into that at all going into the second round, third round possibility. I think they take one, but don't be surprised if they try and go running back or edge.
Jeremy.
Just going straight by the board, Lamp, Williams, McDowell, Cook, Lawson are all sitting there, which are all great options. You're going to have lots of people banging the table for Joe Mixon, probably. I would really like to see them have a look at a cornerback, which is probably going to be a realistic range for them. Tankersley is not my favorite. I'd love if they could get a shot at Kevin King, or if they want to be patient, maybe even a Sidney Jones or a Fabian Moreau, who's been my pick for the second round for about 3 months now.
All right, Jay.
Like Alex said, Malik McDowell, but that's probably not realistic. I don't know if he's even going to go in day 2. We'll see. Ideally, it'd be a corner or an edge player. We still want defense. Corners Awuzie or Tankersley would be my favorites, and edge Derek Rivers, Tim Williams, Tyus Bowser, any of those 3. And there's 2 picks tomorrow, and of course, still team trade down.
All right, for me, I'm going with 4 players in this order. Tim Williams, no matter what. That's it. I'm here. I'm here for Tim Williams.
I'm on board.
I'm on,
and I think it could be realistic too.
I think it's a realistic thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I am here for Tim Williams. Everybody knows this. He is my dream pick at 46. I'd love to see it happen. Chris Ballard, please make it happen. All right, so like I said, trying to keep first night pretty short. Tomorrow night we'll come back. We'll break down both of the picks from tomorrow. Saturday we'll be back, break down the 4 picks from day 3. So Jay has some breaking news before we log off. Jay, what do you got?
Las Vegas just released the numbers, and the over-under for the number of Malik Hooker interceptions against Blake Bortles is 34.5.
Over.
In the season or in career battles?
In
Just
2
the
games
first game.
against the Jaguars.
2 games against the Jaguars in 2017. I'm going to go with the over. All right, with that, everybody, thanks for listening to the Draft Indy podcast first round discussion. Tomorrow, we'll be back for day 2. As always, you can tweet us at Draft Indy, or you can tweet us on our personal accounts. Have a good night. Get some sleep. I know I am.